the last reel we did with the 12 strand, 130 pound test, we got 2651. Now there was a few little deals that we saw, and one was the line twist on it. The second was the loose line on the spool. We are gonna go ahead and go through this next spool and see how this one. To the same conditions we put the first spool through. We're gonna check this one out and see how it goes. So come along, guys. We've got another reel to spool. It's gonna be a great one. And oh yeah. All right, the other day, one of the main tests that we did was doing our splicing. And when we insert the needle into the braid, we start to push it through and get our splice going. All right, now part of this situation right here is when you go through so much braid right at this point, normally the needle would tend to start packing on coating from the coloring of the braid. Now, as you can tell, it's still pretty clean, which is good, and that is a very good plus, because one of the hardest things about the splicing is when it builds up like that, it gets to a point where it gets stuck and it doesn't allow the needle to penetrate inside. Now, it could also be that I'm using a thinner needle than what is recommended for this size, which is fine because I still have ran into the problem like that. All right, guys, I want to take a second to also remind you that we do have a shark fishing trip giveaway. To win that free shark fishing trip with Team Hard Life, it has to be under the video that says win a free trip. All right, in there, that's where your subscribers that you have referred will mention your name, and so that way we can keep an accurate count. All right. The other thing is too, when we're doing these videos of max line capacity, that's all it is for max line capacity. For guys like me and the other tournament fishermen that we fish with, that's the thing we depend on. Now, everybody that comes in will always want something different. That's the deal of us asking the proper questions as to how they're going to fish, where they're going to fish, and what they're trying to do while fishing. Because there can be a ton of different variations in there. And by us trying to do the same cookie cutter operation for everybody is never going to work. That's not what we're about. We're about getting the knowledge out there of the different line capacities and max settings. Now, there's different variations of adding monofilament. Sometimes each 100 yards of mono will take off up to about 400 yards of braid. So when those variations come in, it all depends on the size of class of monofilament in comparison to the braid. All right. So with that in mind, when you are setting up your reel to go shark fishing or to go offshore fishing or any kind of fishing, those are the questions you got to ask yourself. What variation are you going to put on your reel to make you happy? Because at the end of the day, a full spool like this may not be your cup of tea. It may be too over spooled for you, which is fine. You fish with what's going to make you happy at the end of the day. Don't really go off of everybody else's suggestion unless they are doing the exact same style of fishing you're doing and they're trying to give you the best. Now, at the same time, if you haven't dealt with reels that are completely filled like that, let the person who's spooling know what you're intending on doing, and they should be able to accommodate you. If not, give us a call down here. We'll ask the proper questions and get you properly set up. So, all right, guys, let's go and kick this off. Alright guys, real quick. Alright, we are seeing a little bit of gap, and what is happening, there's a few twists in the line, but this gives you a prime example of the straight braid right here, how it lays nice and flat, and the twist in the braid, what it actually does, it creates these micro gaps. With those micro gaps, it doesn't seem like much, but if you've ever stacked PVC and you got them all nice and straight, you know, laying flat, they're cool, but as soon as you cross one, it creates a large gap in there, and that's not really what you want to do. So that's just a little heads up. But so far the braid feels really excellent. The softness of the braid, the coloring and coating. Alright guys, so once again we do have twist in the line, and you can see it right here how it's kind of dark and then goes light and dark and light again. And here's another little quick test. See, all I'm doing is pushing straight up, and now you can see the twist really apparent there. So on that note, I have talked to the manufacturer of the braid, and they said that this is one of the improvements they're striving to improve on. So that's just a heads up for future guys that are interested in this braid. As well as the tension of the braid when they put it on the spool. They're going to be, those are the two improvements that basically we've seen so far, which is actually pretty good, you know. So we will continue and see how it goes. Is I'm actually going to mark the first 500 yards onto the spool, but to separate a 500 yard mark from a 1,000 yard mark is I'm going to put two spots instead of just one long one. Oh, well, let's check this out, how it's going to look once I start spooling it onto the reel. Oh, well, there you go. So that's my marker. See how you've got the gap between, let me get back around to it. See where it gets dark? And then it's got the gap between it, so it shows that this will be the 500 yard mark. All right. That was, but we can investigate it. We had a discoloration in the line, and what it is it looks like it's a splice in the line that was done at the company, which will happen. The only thing I don't like is all the little tag ends that are created when that happens. I mean, that's kind of just one of the things you will see eventually. Okay, and you see how it's kind of blackish Yeah. Alright, you can see how it's kind of blackish on the deal. As you come down, you can see all the little ends of the braid when they start to come out. I don't like that for the braid, because like I said, each one of those little points acts as a rough spot in the braid, and that's the beautiful thing about these hollow cores, is they're prided on being real supple and soft. So as they come over a sharp edge, say the corner of this metal piece right here, you can see that little fray hanging out on the corner right there. Well, that ends up catching the edge of this sharp edge right here, and that's what'll get you cut off. So with them splicing like this, it's something that they must do. I mean, there's just, you know, they get to the ends of their line and stuff like that, and they splice them in, and they do a very good job. However, I'm just a bit more picky than normal, and it's because, I mean, at the end of the day, we've got a ton of money riding on this. I mean, at the end of the day, you could have a $10,000 fish on the end of this line, and if you're fishing in a lot of shell, this could cost you a break off. But it is something that I have seen with all braids, not just this braid. Even in Power Pros, the Diamond Moy braids, I've seen it with them all. So, and to tell you the truth, I was kind of worried because this one looked like I wasn't going to get a chance to splice the line in between the spool on this one. At the rate we were going, we were actually doing a lot of well, we were going a good pace with no mess ups in the line. And like I said, this technically isn't a mess up. It's just I'm a bit picky on the top end, and it's to have y'all's best interest in mind. Yeah, it's just that small section, but the twist in the line is something that I'm gonna have to get out. So we got one for there. So using the same needle I was using earlier to see if I can get some more buildup of the coating onto the needle. This is kind of what we were talking about. Right here, I'm kind of stuck on it. I don't know if it's because of the coating or because the braid looks super tight in this area. I mean, like, it's really, really tight. I don't know what would cause this. Excuse me, my allergies are kicking my butt down here, so. But it has stopped. Let me get a close-up of, I'll show you what's going on. Okay, as you can see right here, when I first started, it was nice and easy, but then it got extremely hard packed here, and as I'm trying to get the braid onto the spool or onto the needle, it stopped me right there. This is being a pain right now. Well, let's see the needle, the tip of the needle. Okay, there's no buildup of the coating on there, but man, that... Alright, so I finally got one side through, but it was a struggle to get it through. It scares me. I'm afraid that I'm going to break my needle, but I still got to go all the way through so I can finish spooling this reel. Let's see how it goes. Okay, there we go. Forgot where I was there for a second. And even then too, you can see how the loose braid bulks up, but that tight braid doesn't. It stays really tight at the end. And yeah, that's pretty scary right there. So I've got to come back this way. So this works on the first try. Needle is in. Oh, thank you. This side's good. See how easily that's going on? That's what you want. Boom. Nice. Yes. Splice in. And good thing I'm going to go a little further on this side, just because on the other side I could only go about 6 inches. I normally like to go about a foot each direction, and that's just personal preference right there. Alright. See how easy that is? That is the way it's supposed to go on. So yeah, I will be sending that stretch of braid over there, so maybe they can find out why it's doing that. He's really dead set on improving his braid to be one of the best out there on the market, so it's real good, and I've seen it improve throughout the years, and that is why it's getting spooled on now here. And I can't wait for the rest of the videos come through and all of our testing, because I mean, with every braid you're gonna always find some kind of bad batch or what have you. You know, maybe this was one of them, or you know, I found top end like mailing wire. Excuse me. I went out to Academy one day and I bought 20 packages of, and what I was doing was I was pulling them all out, and I was cutting about 10 strands at a time. But when I pulled them all out, I noticed they all varied in length, and I'm talking from 1 foot difference all the way up to almost 7 foot of difference, that it was shorted from 42 foot all the way up to like 35 foot. And instead of, and what I mean by that is the packages all said they were supposed to be 42 foot in length, and I was getting some areas that they were only 35 foot. So, like I said, you know, every company is going to have its weaknesses and stuff like that, but the beauty is which companies are willing to take the next step to improve their line. And I know these guys are, and it's going to be pretty awesome when they have the finished, you know, completely finished product of getting out all these little bugs and stuff like that. But I'm really excited for the line. Like I said, it feels really good and stuff, but we got to get out these little kinks. So. Just a little update on the spool. It is still super tight. It's going on nice and neat down here. And granted, I cannot spool all the way through with one hand like this, because I'm still checking the braid like I like to. But I just wanted to give you all a little update on the spooling. It's looking very nice here. And also too, I got sidetracked. I was also pulling it down because I was coming up on the 1,000-yard mark. Gone over a little bit, but I'm still going to mark it so that way we can at least get our 1,000-yard mark. what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the 1500 yard mark as well. Again, with the three marks to mark 1500. And it's still looking mighty good on here, so. Well, remember how bright the braid was when we first started? Well, now it's getting a bit discolored. See how dark the line is now in comparison to that. I wonder what that may be, but that'll be something that we can let them know. And a side note, we've seen this kind of discoloration like that on other braids as well. It's not just them. Maybe they can find out why. We couldn't get any answers from anybody else, so if I'll get with them. If they can get me an answer, I'll be sure to post it up later and we can see why that is doing that. Just a little sneaky peek again. There's 2,000 yards. The spool is real tight and it's back to its original color of being bright and pretty. And that's our mark right there. So, and still, I mean, there's a little bit of coating coming off, but it's not as bad. I think we're seeing it a lot more on this because it is a highly different color than the green was. The green almost matched the darkness here, but still this is very acceptable in comparison to what the other braids may put out and coating coming off and stuff like that. And so this is the 2,000 yard mark going on to the spool. So now our guys will know that when they hit that, they got 2,000 yards left on. Alright, we got 2,634 yards. It's not the 2,650 that we got yesterday with the other one. However, that's still a tremendous amount of braid onto the reel. And yes sir, nice tight pack so we can do long bombs when we want to get out far, and or if a monster fish wants to take line, we don't have to try and stop him very quickly. And again, the braid is nice and spool hard onto the main spool coming off this way, and there we go. That's it. That's your count. 2,634. Got something else that we wanted to address with you. We noticed when we first started posting videos to YouTube that our uncut raw footage of us spooling reels had got a tremendous amount of views on them and stuff like that. So we're wondering if that's the type of videos y'all would like to see, and if so, go ahead and drop a comment that you'd like to see that done. And that way we can position the camera right overhead, so that way you can see how it's getting done onto the reel in real time without any cutouts and stuff like that. Now, mind you, we still run a tackle shop, so sometimes I have to go answer the phone or the door or deal with the customer. So at that time, I will pause it, but I will come right back to that same spot and try to give us a long or an unedited film on spooling. Now, mind you, those do take 30 to 45 minutes, so we'll see. There we go. So again, that was your 12 strand, 130 pound extreme braid spooled onto an 80 Avid at 2,634 yards of line. So that's a nice one. Now to get back with them and let them know what we have seen and found on the video. We always encourage people to give us a good comment, let us know how we're doing and their thoughts on it. But please keep it polite because we do have kids and this is a family-orientated channel. We've got fishermen from all ages and all shapes and sizes and stuff like that. So we do want to keep it in a positive manner. Remember to refer guys to subscribe to our channel, but they must subscribe and also post in that video of the free shark fishing giveaway in order for it to count, so we're not backtracking back and forth through all the videos trying to find all the entries. So it's coming up pretty quick. Also too, side note, we're about to hit 1,000 subscribers. Woo! So on that note, we got something special for this shark fishing event. If we can hit 1,000 subscribers for this event, it's going to be a double whammy for the winner. So just FYI for those that are listening and those who have subscribed, it's anybody's game still at this point, and we hope to see how it turns out. Check y'all later. Y'all have a good one.